ICAC hearings to stay behind closed doors after bill killed off the South Australian Labor government, and key independent MPs have killed off a fresh attempt to give the state's Independent Commissioner Against Corruption, ICAC, the right to hold public hearings. If the bill was successful, it would have allowed the ICAC Commissioner Bruce Lander to examine witnesses publicly during his investigation into whether ministers or public servants committed maladministration in the government's handling of the Oakden nursing home scandal. Mr. Lander this week launched a probe into the nursing home and called for families of residents to come forward. He also has the power to compel witnesses to give evidence. Yesterday, Mr. Lander repeated his calls for the right to hold public hearings and suggested the government and opposition were resisting the move because it could lead to political embarrassment. But after meeting Mr. Lander, the Shadow Attorney General Vicky Chapman introduced a private member's bill to give him the powers he had requested. Photo: Premier Jay Weatherall, top, and his deputy John Rao in the House today. ABC News, Nick Harmson. The bill introduced by the opposition was defeated 23 votes to 20 in the House of Assembly. Labour MPs were joined by independent ministers Jeff Brock and Martin Hamilton-Smith along with former Labour MP Francis Bedford in voting against the bill. Ms. Chapman told the chamber her bill would effectively provide the ICAC the powers of a royal commission, including the right to suppress evidence in certain circumstances. If a witness were to get into the witness box, for example, and to say in a public environment, "I consider that Jay Weatherall has murdered my mother," then that would be an unsubstantiated statement on the face of it, and it would be quite open in those circumstances for the commissioner to suppress the evidence in respect of that part of the public hearing, she said. Photo: Independent Liberal and a member of the Labour cabinet Martin Hamilton-Smith was criticised for his stance. ABC News, Nick Harmson. But the Attorney General John Rao argued the secrecy provision should remain, because during maladministration investigations, the ICAC is effectively using the powers of the Ombudsman, who is prevented by law from conducting his investigations in public. If it were dealt with by the Ombudsman, it would be a matter which as a matter of law would have to be conducted in private, Mr. Rao said. And what the opposition here is saying is in effect, some inquiries which occur using the tools and the framework of the Ombudsman's Act will be now no longer heard in private, but not those dealt with by the Ombudsman. Before the bill was defeated, Ms. Chapman lashed out at Independent Minister Martin Hamilton-Smith, who as Liberal leader a decade ago, led his party's charge for an ICAC in the face of stiff government opposition. Whilst a member of the Liberal Party, he went out and advocated to the people of South Australia the importance of having public hearings, and now today we see him sit arm in arm with the government of secrecy, Ms. Chapman said. "I find it sickening." Stuart Johnstone, whose mother Helen accused Oakden staff of repeated assaults, said the decision by the Parliament did not square with the government's public statements. "The secrecy has to come to an end, and it has to come to an end at all levels," he said. "I think the state government has missed a perfect opportunity today to prove to us all that this is indeed open and accountable, there's nothing to hide, and that they want a solution like we do."